Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are doing something a little different. Usually we're looking at future tech or, ancient history. But today we're cracking open a time capsule.
A very specific time capsule.
Yes. We've got a stack of pages here, specifically the first 4 chapters of Lorrie Moore's novel, A Gate at the Stairs. And I have to say, this isn't just a story, it's a mood, it's a texture.
It absolutely is. It's a time capsule that when you open it still, I don't know, it still smells like smoke and anxiety.
Exactly. We are transporting ourselves back to the American Midwest, fall and winter of 2001.
Right after.
Right after. The Twin Towers have just fallen. The world has fundamentally shifted on its axis. And amidst all that global terror, we have a 20-year-old girl named Tassie just trying to find a babysitting job so she can pay her tuition.
It sounds like such a strange juxtaposition, doesn't it? Global terror and babysitting.
Right.
But that friction is exactly why this text is our subject today. Our mission for this deep dive is to explore how Moore uses the perspective of this really naive student to just dissect a world that is quietly cracking apart.
And she dissects everything.
Oh, everything. We're going to look at post-9/11 anxiety, the weird, often dark machinery of the adoption industry, race, class, and the performance of liberal sophistication.
The performance, that's the key word. And we have to talk about the voice. Because Tassie isn't just a camera, she's a character. She describes herself as a cave child.
A cave child. I love that phrase.
She's from a farm town called Delacrosse, and she's moved to this university town called Troy, which is known as the Athens of the Midwest.
Which is such a loaded nickname. I mean, Athens implies philosophy, democracy, high culture. It suggests a beacon of enlightenment.
But notice where it's sitting.
Right in the middle of the cornfields. It's an island.
And Cassie feels that island status so intensely. She talks about being blinded by the brilliance of the university. She's dazzled by the foreign films, the witty banter, the artisanal cheeses. She says her brain is on fire with Chaucer.
Oh, yeah.
She's in that classic undergraduate phase where you think you've discovered thinking for the first time.
But that light she sees is filtering through a lot of debris. I mean, we really have to set the scene of the time period because it's almost a character in itself. It's September 2001. The attacks have happened.
But this isn't a 9/11 novel.
No, not at all. Moore doesn't write about characters in New York running from the dust cloud. She writes about the ripple effects, the tremors in the Midwest.
Tassie describes the atmosphere as cat's mouth full of canaries. That image really stuck with me.
It's so visceral, isn't it? A cat's mouth full of canaries. It implies a predator that has already swallowed the song.
It's silent.
It's silent, but you know the violence has happened. It captures that suppressed dread perfectly.
But at the same time, life is absurdly mundane. I mean, Tassie notes that students are walking down the hallways debating bacterial warfare.
Which was a huge fear then with the anthrax scare.
A huge fear. But in the very next breath, they're arguing about who the best backup singer for Aretha Franklin was.
Or asking which Korean restaurant serves the best Chinese food. It captures that cognitive dissonance perfectly. You're terrified, you feel like the world is ending, but you also really want good takeout.
Right.
Tassie observes this disconnect so vividly. She says the horror felt like looking at the Mona Lisa through glass encased, terrifying, but somehow removed from the immediate need to, study for a quiz.
So let's unpack Tassie a bit more. To understand her view of this sophisticated world she's entering, we have to understand the cave she came from.
Delacrosse.
Delacrosse, a town defined by a very specific kind of failure.
Extraterrestrial tourism.
It's so perfectly pathetic.
I love that detail so much. The town council, in a desperate bid to save the local economy, tried to brand Delacrosse as the extraterrestrial capital of the world to attract tourists. They put up signs, they made brochures.
And nobody came.
Nobody came. So now the town is just stagnating. It's a place defined by what Tassie calls the hypothetical conditional past. Things that would have happened if the aliens or the tourists had shown up.
The language of regret.
Yes. And it sets the stage for why Tassie wants out so badly.
And her parents are these perfect anchors of that absurdity. Let's start with her father, Bo Kilchin. He's not your typical Midwestern farmer.
No, not at all. He's a gentleman farmer, or as Tassie calls him, a hobbyist.
The locals call him Tofu Tom.
Right. He's a joke to them because he doesn't farm for survival. He farms for aesthetics.
He paints his barn blue and white.
Which is a cardinal sin in that part of the world. Barns are red. Red is practical. It's tradition. Painting a barn blue and white because you like the colors signals that you aren't taking the work seriously. You're playing at being a farmer.
And he grows gourmet potatoes.
Little potatoes with names. Cajun duck eggs.
He's growing luxury goods for the very people Tassie is about to meet in Troy. It's this incredible bit of foreshadowing.
It really is. And he's physically present on the farm. He's there on the porch. But Tassie notes he's quasi-drunk a lot of the time. There's a detachment there.
A deep one. And then there's the mother, Gail. She's Jewish, which makes her an outsider in Delacrosse immediately. Tassie describes her as having an indifferent reserve. But the thing that really paints the picture for me is the mirrors.
Oh, the mirrors in the garden.
She lays mirrors on the ground in the garden to double the look of the flowers because she's too tired to plant more.
That is such a potent metaphor for the entire book, really. It's about creating an illusion of abundance in a place of scarcity.
An illusion of effort.
Exactly. It's about the exhaustion of maintaining appearances. Tassie looks at those mirrors and sees her mother's fatigue. She sees that her family is built on these little tricks of the light.
So Tassie sees herself as having been raised in this cave on Perryville Road. She's embarrassed by it. She calls her dad's work daddiest agriculture. But she's also defensive.
Oh, deeply. When people in Troy mock farmers, she gets angry. She's suspended between these two identities. She's in that transitional phase. She wants to be a woman of the world, but she has no money.
Which brings us to the plot driver, the search for employment. The J term or January term is coming up, and she needs cash.
So she turns to childcare, she answers ads, and we have to talk about her resume.
Her qualifications.
Because it is charmingly pathetic.
It really is. She lists farm chores, which, okay, that's valid. But then she lists a sack of flour.
The Sack of Flour project, it's that classic high school home ec assignment where you have to carry a 5-pound sack of flour around for a week to simulate having a baby.
And she puts this on her resume as experience.
But she leaves out the ending.
The crucial detail.
Right. She stuffed the baby in her backpack, her loose pen stabbed it, and it exploded. It's a hilarious image, a backpack full of white powder, but it foreshadows everything.
It really does.
She treats the child as luggage, it's an inconvenience, and it ends in a mess. She is fundamentally unprepared for what she is asking to do.
And she goes through this gauntlet of interviews with anxious pregnant women in Troy. They ask her about her philosophy of early childhood education.
And Tassie is just thinking, I will put the kid in a stroller and walk.
She's honest, at least. But she doesn't fit with these anxious, high-strung mothers until she arrives at the home of Sarah Bronk.
And this is where the movie really starts.
Let's talk about that first meeting, because the house itself gives us a warning sign. It's a white house, looks nice, but there's a gate on the porch stairs.
The gate at the stairs, and it's broken. It has a loose hinge. Tassie has to lift it to get it to latch.
And she feels a sense of satisfaction doing it. She thinks, magic me, I fixed it.
That is Tassie's naivety in a nutshell. She thinks she's fixing something.
Yeah.
But the text tells us explicitly that this broken gate signals ill-disguised decrepitude.
Right, it's a make-do fashion.
Exactly. It signals a household that is fraying at the edges. It's a physical manifestation of the fact that the people inside are not keeping up with maintenance of the house or of their lives.
Then the door opens, and we meet Sarah Brink.
Sarah is. She's a force. Tassie describes her as looking like a highly controlled oxidation experiment.
Oxidation, like rust. That's so specific.
It is. Dyed auburn hair, rust-colored clothing, pale skin. She looks like she's rusting, but in a very curated, expensive way.
And we find out she owns a high-end restaurant called Le Petit Moulin, and she projects this incredibly frantic, manic energy. When Tassie walks in, Sarah is cooking a snack.
Caramelized sage.
I left out loud of this. Tassie is a starving college student. She walks in, smells food, and Sarah hands her a fried leaf.
A single fried leaf. It represents the disconnect between sustenance and style perfectly. Sarah is all style. She feeds Tassie a leaf and calls it a snack. It's sophisticated, sure, but it's not nourishing. That's Sarah.
And Sarah's performing from the second Tassie walks in. She tells Tassie to keep her shoes on because there's too much of that prissy Japanese stuff going on in this town.
Which is such a weird performative thing to say. She's trying to be the cool, relaxed mom, but she's actually just being judgmental and a little bit racist.
And it's all a performance. She has bumper stickers about peace and feminism. If God speaks through burning bushes, let's burn a bush.
A classic of the era.
But Tassie notices later that Sarah has terrible road rage. She screams at other drivers.
She claims to be a good tipper, but undertips. She's a walking contradiction.
She is the archetype of a specific kind of anxious, wealthy liberalism. She wants to be good. She wants to hold the right opinions. But she's so wrapped up in her own neuroses that she treats people like props.
Speaking of props, she even treats her neighbors as entertainment. She points out the house next door to Tassie.
The Wellburns and the Bats.
She describes them like they are a sitcom. There's a gay couple and a dog that keeps running into an electric fence, and Sarah just laughs about it. Who could make up these names? She asks.
She's distancing herself. She's the director of the movie, not a participant. She's observing the quirky neighbors rather than knowing them.
But strangely, despite all this affectation, Tassie connects with her. Or rather, Sarah connects with Tassie. And the bridge between them
Is potatoes.
it's the Klamath Pearls.
Sarah recognizes Tassie's last name, Kelchen. She realizes Tassie is the daughter of the potato farmer she used to buy from for her restaurant.
This is a crucial moment for Tassie. Remember, in Delacrosse, her father is Tofu Tom, the village eccentric.
A joke.
But here, in this sophisticated kitchen, he is a culinary artisan. Sarah validates Tassie's background. She reframes Tassie's shame into something cool.
And that's why she gets the job. Not because she knows CPR or has a degree in child development, but because she fits the aesthetic. She's the organic farm girl.
Sarah is collecting her. She's adding another authentic, rustic accessory to her life.
But the job isn't normal babysitting. Sarah reveals that she and her husband are adopting.
And she needs Tassie to be a sort of witness or an assistant. She hires her on the spot to go to a town called Kronenki to meet a birth mother.
Which brings us to the next section, the practice run.
The failed practice run. Sarah whisks Tassie away to Kronenki to meet a young woman named Amber. And the setting shifts so dramatically.
We leave the scent of caramelized sage and enter a Perkins restaurant.
The bottomless pot of coffee, the sticky plastic menus, it's a stark class marker.
Sarah is visibly uncomfortable here. She's out of her element.
And Amber. Amber is a reality check. She's young, she's pregnant, she's missing teeth, and Tassie notices immediately.
An ankle monitor.
That detail just lands so hard. It signals legal trouble, poverty, a life that is messy in a way Sarah just cannot comprehend.
But Moore gives Amber dignity. Tassie describes her as having a slowly surprising intelligence. She's sharp. She's watching Sarah just as closely as Sarah is watching her. And Sarah fails this test miserably. She tries to become the mentor.
Oh, it's so cringeworthy.
She leans in and gives Amber this unsolicited advice. She says, "Don't sell drugs. You're no good at it. Do something you're good at."
It is excruciating to read. Sarah thinks she's being this wise, tough love figure. She thinks she's in a movie where the rich lady saves the wayward girl with one perfect sentence.
But Amber isn't a character in Sarah's movie. She's a real person. And she's insulted.
Deeply. She snaps back. That's what I'm trying to do. She's trying to place her baby for adoption. That's the good thing she's doing. Sarah's comment completely dismisses the gravity of the actual situation.
So Amber storms off. The adoption falls through. And in the car, Sarah has this moment of clarity, this brief, painful moment.
She says, "I always do the wrong thing."
That vulnerability is what keeps Sarah from being a total caricature. She knows she's awkward. She knows she's failing. She wants this child desperately. But her own personality, her need to perform, her need to control it, keeps sabotaging her.
It sets up the pattern. Sarah tries to connect, but her class privilege and her anxiety get in the way every single time.
So Tassie finishes the term and goes home for Christmas break. Back to the cave in Delacrosse.
And this section, I think this is the emotional anchor of these chapters, because while Truly is buzzing with this neurotic, intellectual anxiety about 9/11, Delacrosse is silent. It's stagnant.
Tassie sees her parents differently now. They seem smaller, frail, translucent, she says.
But the real focus here is her brother, Robert,
Everyone calls him Gunny.
which is a nickname that just takes on this dark, dark irony.
Gunny is a high school senior. And he is flailing. He has 4 Fs and a D. He's completely lost.
He's doing yoga in the living room to cleanse himself, but Tassie can see the despair on him, and he's talking to a recruiter.
An army recruiter. This is December 2001. The war in Afghanistan has begun. The drums are beating.
But listen to what Robert says to Tassie. This is the key. He says, it's peacetime.
It's peacetime.
He says, Afghanistan is over or we won.
That delusion broke my heart. He truly believes that joining the army is just a job, a way to get money for college, or just to get out of Delacrosse. He doesn't see the war coming.
This is the profound disconnect that Moore is highlighting. For Sarah and Troy, the war is a topic of debate. It's something to put on a bumper sticker.
A theory, an idea.
Right. For Robert in Delacrosse, the war is a physical destiny that is coming for him, and he doesn't even know it. He's walking off a cliff because he thinks the ground is solid.
Tassie senses this. She says that soldiers without a war get bored and start shooting at the sky. She feels the danger, but she can't stop it.
She also feels completely alienated from her old friends. She describes them as aliens.
And she talks about their grammar, the hypothetical conditional past.
I've been gonna.
We didn't go to the mall.
Yeah.
It's the language of people who never did the thing. It's the grammar of stagnation. Tassie can't speak that language anymore. She has tasted the hypothetical future in Troy, and she can't go back.
So when Sarah calls her in the middle of break, Tassie is ready to leave.
It's the call to adventure. Sarah summons her back to Troy because there's another baby.
This time in Green Bay.
And the chaos starts immediately.
Yeah.
Tassie has to take a cab, her first cab ride.
Yeah.
Then a plane, her first plane ride.
And Sarah is at the airport running up the down escalator.
For exercise, she says.
It's that mania again. She's running against the current. It's such a perfect image for her life. She's expending so much energy just to stay in the same place.
So they fly to Green Bay to meet Bonnie, the new birth mother. And Bonnie is the opposite of Amber.
Totally different. Bonnie is older. She's a hospital aide. She's described as large and not Bonnie, meaning not pretty.
And Tassie fixates on her eyebrows.
They are plucked out and drawn back on.
It's such a small, sad detail.
It is. It's a detail of poverty, often. Or just a detail of someone trying to maintain a look without the resources. Bonnie is giving up her baby not because she's on drugs, but because she wants a chance at a different life. She wants to go to school. She wants to be a technician.
And the transaction here is so explicit. The adoptive parents, Sarah and her husband, are paying thousands of dollars in legal fees. But Bonnie, the law says she can't be paid. She can only receive tokens.
So they give her a watch.
A watch.
It's brutal symbolism. They are buying her time. She's giving them a life, and they are giving her a timepiece. It highlights the commodification of the child. The lawyers get paid. The agency gets paid. The mother gets a trinket.
And speaking of the checkbook, we finally meet the husband, Edward.
The mysterious Edward. He arrives late to the meeting, of course.
Tassie describes him as having a hair cape.
Which is just a fantastic description of a certain kind of academic haircut, long in the back, flowing. Edward is a researcher on eye cancer. He's distinguished. He's charismatic.
But he's also incredibly self-absorbed. He walks into the room and mistakes Tassie for the birth mother.
Twice.
Twice. That is not an accident by the author. It shows that Edward isn't really looking at these women. He sees young female and assumes vessel. He's performing the role of the busy, important husband, but he's not connecting.
And the dynamic with Sarah is fascinating. Sarah is all over him. She smooches him. She's anxious to please him. But he's cool, dismissive.
And then comes the moment that tells us everything about their marriage.
Oh, the separate checks moment.
They are paying the adoption fees over $9,000. And Sarah insists they split it, 50-50, down to the cent.
She says, we like things to be even between us. But in that context, in a lawyer's office, buying a baby, essentially, it feels incredibly cold. It feels like a business partnership, not a marriage. Even the lawyer looks surprised.
It signals that they are keeping score. And if you're keeping score in a marriage, you're usually losing.
Exactly. So the deal is signed. Bonnie agrees. And now they have to go meet the baby. This is where the story pivots to race.
They go to the foster home. And again, it's chaotic. The foster family, the McCallans, weren't told they were coming.
And there is a teenage foster daughter, Lynette, holding the baby. She's rocking her. She calls herself Mama.
It's heartbreaking. The system treats these foster placements as temporary storage, but the human connections are real. Lynette loves this baby, and Sarah and Edward are essentially invading this home to take the child away.
And the child, Mary, is described as part African-American, 1/4, the birth mother said.
And this triggers a cascade of racial anxiety in Sarah.
It's so uncomfortable to witness. Sarah immediately starts planning to rename the baby Mariemma. She wants to add Bertha.
She starts listing Black cultural icons she's going to teach the baby about. Zora Neale Hurston, Leontine Price. She's building a curriculum before she's even held the child. She falls right back into essentialist stereotypes. She fetishizes the child's race. She wants the credit for adopting a non-white child. She talks about how much she hates the white babies market, but she doesn't know how to treat the child as a human being yet. She treats her as a project, a symbol of her own open-mindedness.
And this hypocrisy gets fully exposed in the Chubby Mary scene.
The Supper Club, a classic Wisconsin institution.
They're at dinner. Tassie is trying to make conversation. She explains a local drink called a Chubby Mary.
Which, for those who don't know, is a Bloody Mary with a smoked chubba fish stuck in it.
It sounds horrific,
It's
honestly.
very regional. But watch how Sarah and Edward react. They don't just say, oh, that sounds interesting. They mock it. They mock Tassie. They exchange these looks of superior amusement.
They treat Tassie like a cute, rural simpleton. Look at the little farm girl and her fish drink.
And the irony is devastating. Here they are, congratulating themselves on adopting a child of color to broaden their family and be inclusive, while simultaneously sneering at the rural culture of the girl sitting right in front of them.
It shows that their inclusivity has very strict limits. It only applies to things they consider culturally valuable. Rural working-class culture. That's just funny to them.
It really makes you feel for Tassie. She's just trying to explain a drink, and she ends up being the punchline.
But while they're playing these social games, the plot deepens. We move into this next section, the secrets and lies.
This is where the thriller element starts to creep in. Tassie and Edward are left alone at the hospital with the medical records.
Sarah is off doing something manic, presumably. Edward and Tassie are reviewing the file, and they find a mistake.
The birth mother's full name, Bonnie Jankling Crow, was supposed to be redacted, whited out, but one page was missed.
They see the name. Now, ethical protocol would be to tell the lawyer, or at least tell Sarah. But what does Edward do?
He turns to Tassie and says, don't tell Sarah.
He recruits the babysitter into a conspiracy against his wife.
It's so manipulative.
Incredibly. He justifies it by saying Sarah has an obsessive side. He says if she knows the name, she'll stalk the mother or worry forever.
Which might be true. Sarah is obsessive. But it's still incredibly manipulative. He creates a secret bond with Tassie. It's you and me against her crazy. He is isolating his wife.
And then there's the other secret, the narrative about the conception.
The foster mother, Mrs. McCowan, had suggested earlier that the rape story might not be true, that Bonnie might have just had a fling and regretted it.
But Sarah and Edward shut that down immediately. They refuse to hear it.
Because the rape narrative fits their fantasy better.
Exactly. If Bonnie is a victim of a violent crime, then Sarah and Edward are saving the baby from a tragedy. They are heroes. But if Bonnie just made a choice to give up the baby, that's morally messier. It makes them feel more like purchasers.
They need the tragedy to justify the transaction.
Precisely. And this darkness follows them into the car. The drive home is one of the most tense scenes in the book.
Edward is driving. He's driving with one hand, which Tassie notes annoys Sarah.
A small detail, but it shows the friction, the constant irritation.
The baby is sleeping. And out of nowhere, Sarah drops this line. She says, all sex is a form of rape, one could argue.
Whoa.
She says this in the car, with her husband right there,
Yeah.
and the college student in the back seat.
It is a bomb. It just sucks all the air out of the car.
What does that even mean in this context?
I mean, it suggests a profound unhappiness. It suggests that Sarah views intimacy as inherently coercive. Maybe she feels coerced in her marriage. Maybe she's projecting onto the birth mother. But to say it aloud in front of Tassie, it creates this toxic atmosphere.
It makes you realize that this house they're bringing the baby to is not a happy house.
No, it's a house filled with resentments and philosophical darkness.
Which brings us to the final section of these chapters. The baby comes home.
And we return to the symbol of the gate.
They pull into the driveway. They walk up to the porch. And the gate,
It's still broken.
Edward has to jiggle it, fiddle with it to get them through.
The warning is still there. They've gone to Green Bay, spent thousands of dollars, adopted a child, had these massive emotional revelations. But they haven't fixed the damn gate.
They walk inside. They put the baby still in the car seat on the dining room table.
Surrounded by the silver and the china, Tassie describes the baby as looking like a pickled piglet.
It's such a grotesque, funny image. It highlights how out of place the child is.
Right.
This isn't nursery. It's a showroom.
And then, almost immediately, the parents retreat.
Sarah hands Tassie a key. She gives her typed instructions.
She's going back to work. She mentions that she has FedEx risotto coming for the toddler.
I cannot get over the FedEx risotto. Who FedExes risotto for a 2-year-old?
Someone who is trying to parent through consumption. Sarah thinks if she provides the best food, the best stroller, the best clothes, she's a good mother, but she's physically checking out.
She is leaving Tassie, who, remember, has zero experience except for an exploded sack of flour alone with the child.
And the final warning Sarah gives her is about the baby gate at the top of the stairs inside.
She warns Tassie that it's tricky, and she makes a joke. He says the word gate implies scandal, like Watergate, Irringate.
That is more winking at the reader, or screaming at the reader.
Yes, she is telling us the scandal is here. The scandals is the gate. The danger isn't out there in the world with the terrorists or the drug dealers. The danger is right here at the top of the stairs in this wealthy, liberal, broken home.
The excerpt ends with Tassie alone in the house. Sarah is gone. Edward is gone. The baby is waking up, and Tassie's holding the key.
It's a cliffhanger of emotional safety. We know the physical gate is broken. We suspect the emotional gates are broken too, and now Tassie's locked in.
So we've walked through these 4 chapters. We've seen the humor, the tragedy, the potatoes, the risotto. What does it all add up to? What is the big picture here?
I think we are looking at a portrait of America at a very specific fracture point. You have the disconnect between the Athens of the university and the rural reality of Delacrosse.
That divide, red versus blue, rural versus urban, it's still the defining story of our politics today. Moore saw it so clearly in 2001.
You also have the critique of performative goodness. Sarah and Edward want so badly to be the good guys. They want to save the baby, save the world.
But they are so consumed by their own image that they leave a trail of wreckage, insulted birth mothers, neglected gates, a confused babysitter.
And you have the loss of innocence. Cassie starts this story thinking she's entering a light. She thinks Troy is where the answers are, but she's finding out that the light is artificial.
It's fluorescent, it buzzes, and it doesn't actually keep you warm.
And Robert. We can't forget Robert.
No, that is the ticking clock in the background. While Sarah worries about whether the baby will be good at rhythm, Tassie's brother is marching toward a real war. The tragedy is distributed unequally.
Acid.
The wealthy can buy their way out of reality. They can buy babies, buy risotto, buy cleanses. The poor Robert, Amber, Bonnie, they have to sell their bodies or their children just to survive.
It's a heavy realization, but Moore makes us laugh while we swallow it.
That's her genius. She knows that tragedy is often ridiculous. The potato guns, the chubby Marys, these funny things don't stop happening just because the world is ending. They happen alongside the horror. That's what makes it feel real.
So why should our listener care about this novel from 2009, about the year 2001?
Because we are still living in the echoes of this moment. The anxiety, we still have that. The class divide, it's gotten worse. The way we use lifestyle and consumption to mask our deeper loneliness. That's the story of the 21st century.
It's a warning, essentially.
It is. It's a warning about what happens when you prioritize the performance of a life over the living of it.
And that leads us to our final thought for the deep dive.
I want you to think about that gate again. A gate has 2 functions, right? To keep things out or to keep things in. Sarah and Edward have spent so much energy trying to keep the bad world out. The war, the poverty, the messy biology of birth.
But they've invited the world in, Tassie, the baby, without fixing the safety mechanism.
And as Tassie stands there with the key, she is no longer just the observer, she is the guardian.
And the question is, when the gate finally fails, and we know it will, who is going to fall? Is it the parents? Or is it the children they were supposed to protect?
And on a grander scale, looking at Robert, if we delude ourselves into thinking it's peacetime when it's not, how many people do we lose before we wake up?
Exactly. We are watching a family and a country sleepwalking toward the stairs.
That is a chilling place to leave it. Lorrie Moore is a gate at the stairs. Go read it. It will make you laugh, and then it will break your heart.
It absolutely will. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time.
Take care.